Managing an organization as large and complex as the FBI requires a definitive idea of where we are now and where we hope to be in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. That's where our strategy comes in. The FBI strategy enables bureau leaders and managers to define and pursue objectives crucial to mission success, prioritize resources to achieve those objectives, track progress along the way, address gaps when identified, and, most importantly, deliver consistent results. The FBI strategy is periodically reviewed and adapted to align with the changing threat landscape and organizational climate.
August 15, 2024. Press release. Pair indicted for RICO and RICO conspiracy for string of violent robberies targeting Asian families across 3 Washington counties. In Everett robbery in August 2022, young mother was shot and killed with child in bed beside her. Seattle. 2 men, who were in state custody on other charges, have been indicted federally for RICO and RICO conspiracy for a series of violent home invasion robberies targeting Asian families, announced U.S. Attorney Tessa M. Gorman. 28-year-old Kevin Thissel and 23-year-old Christopher Johnson are in state custody and have or will be transferred to federal custody. The RICO, Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, indictment outlines a pattern of violent crimes allegedly committed by Thissel, Johnson, and their co-conspirators. The indictment alleges that in the summer of 2022, these men targeted certain families for robberies. To create a climate of fear, these men burst into their homes in the middle of the night, dressed in black, claiming to be police, and with guns drawn, said U.S. Attorney Gorman. The primary motive for this robbery crew was money, stealing any valuables they could ransack from these homes. Tragically, they shot and killed one young mother as her 7-year-old child lay next to her in bed. This indictment seeks to hold them accountable for the terror they visited on our community. Right double quotation mark. These traumatic robberies and assaults occurred in the victims' own homes where their families should have been safe, said Richard A. Collodi, special agent in charge of the FBI Seattle field office. During these crimes, children were restrained and were present during the violence, including the death of one child's mother. I'm proud of the work of our investigators and prosecutors to ensure those responsible are held accountable, building a case across jurisdictions and with multiple law enforcement partners. Right double quotation mark. The indictment details that the robbery crew often targeted Asian families and committed the robberies between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. in King, Snohomish, and Skagit counties. The conspirators would kick in doors or windows and disable any security cameras. The robbery crew dressed in black and wore masks. They would often yell police when entering the homes to confuse the victims into thinking it was a law enforcement raid. The robbers would restrain all the victims, even children as young as 9 years old, with zip ties. On one occasion, the robbers kidnapped a woman and forced her, at gunpoint, to go to bank ATMs in the middle of the night in an effort to withdraw funds from her bank account. Each member of the robbery crew had a certain job: surveilling the target homes, serving as a driver, kicking in the door, corralling the family, holding the victims at gunpoint, and ransacking the homes for valuables. Some of those participating in this violent robbery scheme were juveniles. Count 1 of the indictment lists 7 distinct racketeering acts. May 24, 2022, the armed robbery of a family in Mount Vernon, Washington. May 24, 2022, the kidnapping of a young boy in connection with the Mount Vernon robbery. July 14, 2022, the armed robbery of a couple in Burien, Washington. July 28, 2022, the armed robbery of a woman in Kent, Washington. July 28, 2022, the abduction of the victim in the Kent robbery to force her to obtain cash from ATMs. August 19, 2022, the Everett armed robbery of a couple and their child. August 19, 2022, the murder of one of the Everett robbery victims. RICO and RICO conspiracy are punishable by up to life in prison. These senseless acts of violence have profoundly affected our community, leaving a young child without his mother, said Snohomish County Sheriff Susanna Johnson. This investigation was exceptionally complex, and we would not have reached this point without the dedicated efforts of numerous agencies working together to identify the suspects and hold them accountable. We extend our sincere thanks to the Kent Police Department, the FBI, the Snohomish County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for their invaluable assistance in this homicide investigation. This indictment demonstrates those who victimize members of our community will be held accountable, said Chief Daniel Chrisman of the Mount Vernon Police. I am very proud of the work Mount Vernon Police detectives did to advance this case, and the partnerships with other Washington law enforcement agencies, both local and federal, that were a force multiplier for administering the rule of law and ensuring those who engage in criminal activity are tirelessly pursued and aggressively prosecuted. Johnson was in custody in Snohomish County serving a more than 90-month prison sentence for domestic violence convictions. He was transferred to federal custody this morning and will appear on the indictment today. Thissel has a pending federal charge for unlawful possession of a firearm. Thissel is prohibited from possessing firearms due to several prior convictions, including 3 counts of assault in the second degree involving a firearm. He is pending trial in Pierce County for assault in the first degree for another shooting. Thissel is currently in custody in Pierce County. Any crime targeting a particular group of people is particularly disturbing and atrocious, said King County Sheriff Patty Cole Tyndall. Joining forces with fellow law enforcement agencies is key to our efforts in stopping such violent acts. We are grateful to have played a part in bringing these criminals to justice and hope this can help bring even a small comfort to the affected families. The indictments of the 2 violent repeat offenders for RICO is a significant step towards bringing justice to the families that were victimized by this criminal group in Kent and across our region, said Kent Police Chief Rafael Padilla. I am incredibly grateful for the immense work done by our detectives to identify and establish criminal charges for the portion of the crime spree that impacted Kent residents. I also want to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office for stepping in and seeking indictments at the federal level. Our communities benefit from the strong partnerships and collaboration amongst the local and federal public safety entities in Washington state. The charges contained in the indictment are only allegations. A person is presumed innocent unless and until he or she is proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. The case is being investigated by the FBI with significant assistance from the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, the Mount Vernon Police Department, the Kent Police Department, and the King County Sheriff's Office. Assistant United States Attorneys Stephen Hobbs and Mike Lang are prosecuting the case with assistance from the Snohomish County Prosecuting Attorney's Office.
Equality before the law, also known as equality under the law. Equality in the eyes of the law, legal equality, or legal egalitarianism, is the principle that all people must be equally protected by the law. The rule of law is a political ideal that all citizens and institutions within a country, state, or community are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and leaders. It is sometimes stated simply as no one is above the law.